Today we have theme 2, types of machine building industry. Please tell me, are you hear me? Are you see me? Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Yes, teacher.
Types of machine building industry. Learn 2.1 characteristics of a single production. Write to your notes a plan. 2.2 characteristics of serial production. And 2.3 characteristics of mass production. Single production, serial production, and mass production. And we start first question. In mechanical engineering, depending on the program of production of products and the nature of the products produced, there are three main types of production. There are three main types of production. Single, serial, and mass. Types of production: single, serial, and mass. And the first type of production, characteristics of a single production. Single production. Single production is characterized by a wide range of manufactured products or repaired products and a small volume of their output. A small volume of their output. Once again, single production is characterized by a wide range of manufactured products or repaired products and a small volume of their output. At enterprises with a single creation, they use to a greater, or at manufacturers with a single creation, they use to a greater extent universal equipment, located in workshops on a group basis. In other words, divided into sections of tuning, milling, planing machines, etc. Divided into sections of tuning, milling, planing machines, etc. Processing is carried out with a standard cutting tool. and control is carried out with a universal measuring tool. Measuring tool. So when we have a single production, we always use a standard cutting tool and a universal measuring tool. Standard cutting tool and universal measuring tool. It was single production. Since the design of manufacturing machines in a single production are unstable and undergo frequent changes, the principles of complete interchangeability are not observed when processing workpieces. Otherwise, a large number of special measuring instruments would be required, the production costs of which are extremely high. Therefore, fitting work is used during assembly. To prevent the creation of this defective products, the main metal intensive expensive parts are made earlier than the cheaper parts mating with them, due to which deviations in the dimensions of the main parts that occur during the processing are compensated. So when we have product a mechanism and we have one big expensive part. So we do mating this part at first time, and more cheaper parts mating with them due to which deviation in the dimensions of the main parts that occur during the processing are compensated. It was our first question, characteristics of a single production. And now I want to show you first video of our lecture.
Welcome to education.
About plant layout.
Covered in this video are: what is plant layout, objectives of plant layout, and types of plant layout. In part 2, I have explained the types of plant layout in details with the advantages and disadvantages of each type. Let's start the video. What is plant layout? Plant layout means the arrangement of equipment, material, manpower, etc. facilities and services of the plant within the selected work area to achieve the productivity as high as possible.
So it's equipment, material, and manpower in one area.
Plant layout starts with building design and goes up to movement of work table and material handling system. two plants having similar operations may not have identical layout. This may be due to the size of the plant, nature of the process, and management's caliber. Objectives of good plant layout. 1. Bottlenecks and points of congestion are eliminated by line balancing so that material handling and transportation is minimized. 2. Workstations are designed suitably so that movement made by the workers is minimized. 3. Waiting time of the semi-finished products is minimized. 4. Increase the flexibility for changes in product design and future modification. 5. Utilization of cubic space means besides using the floor space, its ceiling height also utilized to accommodate more material in the same space. 6. Improved work methods and reduced production cycle time. 7. To make the workplace safe, ventilated, and free from dust, noise, fume, etc. It leads to satisfaction amongst the workers, and thus employer-employee relations gets better. 8. To increase productivity and better product quality with reduced cost of production. Let's move on to types of plant layout. There are 4 types of plant layout: process layout, production layout, combination layout, fixed position layout. 1. Process layout. In process layout, keep similar machines and similar operations in one place. In other words, machines are arranged according to their function. 2. Product layout. Product layout is also known as line layout. Various operations on raw material are performed in a sequence, and machines are placed accordingly the production flow line. 3. Combination layout. A combination layout combines the advantages of both process layout and product layout. 4. Fixed position layout. In other types of layouts, the product moves past the stationary production equipment, but in a fixed position layout, the product kept stationary and equipment moves around it. Check part 2 of the plant layout in the I button and in the description. If you want to download the PDF, go through the link in the description. You can support my work by
And video about manufacturing.
Welcome to Academic Game Tutorials. In one by one, click on subscribe icon to make the topic. Manufacture is derived from 2 Latin
What
words,
is manufacturing?
manus, which means
What is manufacturing?
words, manus, which means hand, and factors, which means to make. The combination means made by hand. The English word manufacture is several centuries old, and made by hand accurately described the manual methods used when the word was first coined. Most modern manufacturing is accomplished by automated and computer-controlled machinery. So, how can we define manufacturing? As a field of study in the modern context, manufacturing can be defined 2 ways, one technologic and the other economic. Technologically, manufacturing is the application of physical and chemical processes to alter the geometry, properties, and appearance of a given starting material to make parts or products. Manufacturing also includes assembly of multiple parts to make products. The processes to accomplish manufacturing involve a combination of machinery, tools, power, and labor, as depicted in Figure A. Manufacturing is almost always carried out as a sequence of operations. Each operation brings the material closer to the desired final state. Economically, manufacturing is the transformation of materials into items of greater value by means of one or more processing and assembly operations, as depicted in Figure B. The key point is that manufacturing adds value to the material by changing its shape or properties, or by combining it with other materials that have been similarly altered. The material has been made more valuable through the manufacturing operations performed on it. When iron ore is converted into steel, value is added. When sand is transformed into glass, value is added. When petroleum is refined into plastic, value is added. And when plastic is molded into the complex geometry of a patio chair, it is made even more valuable. The words manufacturing and production are often used interchangeably, but the term production might have a broader meaning than manufacturing. To illustrate, one might speak of crude oil production, but the phrase crude oil manufacturing seems out of place. Yet when used in the context of products such as metal parts or automobiles, either word seems okay. So, we have studied how we can define manufacturing from both technological and economical point of views. Thank you.
We are returned to our presentation. And item 2.2. Characteristics of serial production. Characteristics of serial production. Serial production is characterized by a limited range of manufactured products or periodically recurring repaired batches and relatively large output. One more time. Serial production is characterized by a limited range of manufactured products or periodically recurring repaired batches and relatively large output. Write down these sentences about serial production. Depending on the number of products in batch or a series and the value of the coefficient of fixing operation, small scale or small batch. First type of serial production is a small batch. Second time, medium batch. And third type of serial production is large batch. Production is distinguished. Three types of serial production. Once again, small batch, medium batch, and large batch production. This is the scheme of serial production and three types of serial production. At serial production, enterprises, a significant part of the equipment consist of universal machines equipped with both special and universal adjustment and universal assembly devices, which makes it possible to reduce labor intensity and reduce the cost of production. It is also possible to place equipment in the process sequence for one or more parts requiring the same processing order, while observing the principles of interchangeability in processing. with a small labor intensity of processing or an insufficiently large program for the production of products, it is advisable to process blanks in batches with sequential execution of operations. After processing all the work pieces of the batch in one operation, process this batch in the next operation. At the same time, the processing time on different machines is not coordinated. The work pieces are stored near the machines during operation and then transported in a whole batch. In serial production, they also use an alternating current form of work organization. Here, the equipment is also placed during the technological process. Equipment is also placed during the technological process. Processing is carried out in batches, and the blends of each batch may differ slightly in size or configuration, but allow processing on the same equipment. In this case, the processing time on adjustment machines is coordinated, so the movement of the work pieces of this batch is carried out continuously in the order of the sequence of the technological process. To proceed to the processing of the second batch of parts, the equipment and technological equipment, devices and tools are adjusted. Serialization of production can be characterized by the coefficient of consolidation of operations or fixing of operation, coefficient of consolidations or fixing of operations. Coefficient of consolidation of operations. C. Or fixing of operations is the ratio of the number of all various technological operations performed or to be performed during the months to the number of jobs. Ratio of the number of all various technological operations performed or to be performed during the months to the number of jobs. For small-scale production or for small batch of small scale production. It is from 20 to 40. This coefficient is equal from 20 to 40. Coefficient of consolidation, C. For small scale production. For medium scale production, this coefficient is equal from 10 to 20. It's for medium scale production. And for large scale production, or for large batch production, C is equal from 1 to 10. So let's repeat. Serial production is small batch. C is equal from 20 to 40, from 20 to 40. For the medium batch, C is equal from 10 to 12, from 10 to 20. And for large batch production, C is equal from 1 to 10. C can be between 1 and 10. It's about serial production. Please tell me, is it clear the difference between serial production and between single production? Between this production, single production, and between serial production. The difference. Zaitsumi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So we have a time for a break. We have a break for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we must continue our lesson. Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, it's good. So item 2.3, characteristics of mass production. Mass production is characterized by a narrow range and a large output of products that are continuously produced or repaired for a long time. Write down to your notes these sentences. That mass production is characterized by a narrow range and a large output of products that are continuously produced or repaired for a long time. The coefficient of consolidation of operations in this type of production is taken equal to 1. the coefficient of consolidation of operations in this type of production is taken equal to 1. If you remember, for the serial production, this coefficient was equal from 20 to 40, from 10 to 20, and from 1 to 10 for small scale, medium scale, and large scale production. It's for serial production. And for mass production, this coefficient of consolidation of operations, is equal to 1. Mass production is also characterized by a stable production facility, which with a significant volume of output makes it possible to assign operation to certain equipment with its location in the technological sequence. And with the widespread use of specialized special equipment, mechanization and automatization of production processes, with strict observance of the principles of interchangeability, providing a sharp reduction in the labor intensity of assembly work. The highest form of mass production is continuous flow production when the duration of all operations of the technological line is equal or multiply, which allows processing without backlogs in strictly defined time intervals. The time interval during which products of a certain name, size, and design are periodically produced is called the production cycle and is calculated according to the formula. Please write down this formula. P equal F multiply 60 divide P. In this formula, small t is a cycle in minutes. Big F is the effective font of the production time of the worker places, sections of workshops in hour. F calculated in hour. T in minutes. And the last item is the P, big P. Is the annual program for the release of workplace section or workshops, pieces, in pieces. P is the annual program for the release of a workplace section of or workshops in pieces. And T is the production cycle. It's the time interval during which products of a central name, size, and design are periodically produced. Is called the production cycle. To perform operations, the duration of which does not fit into the established rhythm of the release, use additional equipment. With a continuous flow, the transfer from position to position or from workplace to workplace is carried out continuously in a mandatory order, which ensures the parallel simultaneous execution of all operations on the technological line. It was characteristic of mass production. So today we are learning about 3 types of machine building industry: a single production, serial production, and mass production. And for the end of our lesson, let's see another videos about types of production.
In this video, we are to manufacture, continuous production, and job shop production. So, let's start by defining continuous production system or continuous manufacturing system. These are also referred to as repetitive manufacturing systems. In other words, these are the mass production facilities that produce high volumes of the same products. So, in this case, manufacturing happens in automated and special purpose equipments. For example, petrochemical, cement, steel, sugar and fertilizer industries, etc. uses continuous production systems. Now, let's have a look at the classifications of continuous production systems. Number 1. Process or continuous flow production. In continuous flow production, most of the work is done by machines rather than humans. In this type of production process, the production is continuous, 24 hours, 7 days a week, all days in a year. Here, usually there is very small variation in the products, and the same type of products flow continuously through a linear process. The process production system, or the continuous flow production system, is used in oil and gas refineries, petroleum refineries, also used in chemical processing, where production is required continuously, day and night, all over the year. Another type of continuous production process is mass production. There is a lot of confusion between mass production and continuous production. It can be differentiated by the amount of mechanical work involved. In mass production, both machines and humans work together. However, in continuous production, most of the work is done by machines rather than humans. In continuous production, the production is continuous, 24/7 hours, all days in a year. So, mass production, also known as flow production or inline production, is the production system where the production can be broken down to small repetitive continuous tasks. So, it can be used when many identical or similar type of products are to be produced using machines and semi-skilled workforce. The products are assembled
as they flow along a production line. The operators tend to be semi-skilled. Cheaper identical products, such as cars, washing machines, and fridges, are produced in comparatively larger volumes in the mass production system. So, these are the two types of production or manufacturing processes that fall under the continuous manufacturing system. Now, let's discuss about the intermittent production systems. These are the non-continuous production systems. So, production or manufacturing takes place in discrete batches or groups rather than flowing continuously. Intermittent means something that starts or initiates and stops or halts at irregular or unfixed intervals or time gaps. In the intermittent production system, goods are produced based on customers' orders. Large varieties of products are produced, and these products are of different sizes. The design of these products goes on changing, so the system also keeps changing according to the design and size of the product. Therefore, this system is very flexible. Here, goods are produced on a small scale. Now, the non-continuous or intermittent production systems can be broadly classified into three types. Number 1, batch production. Number 2, job shop production. And number 3, project production. First, let's talk about batch production. In batch production flows, the production of items takes place in lots or groups or batches. All the jobs of one batch of production must be completed before starting the next batch of production. Examples of batch production include manufacturing of drugs and pharmaceuticals and chemicals. So, in batch production, medium-sized batches of similar types of products are made batch by batch. That is, production of one batch ends in a single run of the machine, then the next batch goes into the production line when the previous batch has taken exit. Then, another type of intermittent production system is the job shop production. A job shop is a type of production system in which a small amount of a variety of products are produced. In a job shop, each item has their own processing route and takes different paths. In simpler words, non-standardized products of high variety or different types are produced in low volume in a job shop production system. Take, for example, 100 units of green-colored bottles, 150 units of black-colored bottles, and 100 units of white-colored bottles are running through production at the same time at separate production lines within the same production facility or factory, so that the finished bottles of 3 different colors are obtained separately from the 3 production lines simultaneously. This is an example of job shop production system producing small volumes of different types of products in separate production lines. Now, the last type of production system we are going to talk about today is the project production. This is a product or service-based production system where a company accepts a single, complex, and large contract in the form of a project at a time. The order must be completed within a given period of time and at an estimated cost. Some examples of project production system mainly include construction of airports, dams, roads, buildings, shipbuilding, building mass rapid transportation systems, movie production companies, drilling oil wells, etc. So, let's take a quick look at what we learned in this whole class. At first, we classified the production systems based on the product variety and product volume. So, at first we've discussed about process production or continuous flow production, where production keeps running continuously 24/7 all round the year. This process mainly uses automated machineries designed for doing one particular kind of job. So, very high volume of very low variety of product are made through this process. That means continuous flow production produces similar products in huge quantities. Examples include petrochemical refineries, edible oil refineries, steel making, paper making, beer brewing, etc. Then we've studied mass production, which is also known as flow production or inline production. In this case, low variety of product is produced in high volume. Along with automated machineries, human hand is also required throughout most part of the mass manufacturing process. Take, for example, mass production of 500 shirts. At first, fabric is cut for all the shirts at a time continuously, then the cut fabrics are passed through the sewing line, all one after another continuously. So, the mass production job of shirts has been divided into small continuous processes to obtain the final finished shirt. Some more examples of mass production are seen in automobile plants, food processes, beer bottling, etc. These two types of production processes were discussed under continuous production process. After that, we've discussed batch production, in which components or goods are produced in groups or batches. In batch production, products are produced in medium variety and medium quantity. Examples include production of drugs and pharmaceuticals, chemicals, etc. Then, we've studied job shop production, in which a small amount of a variety of products are produced. Examples include painting shops, machine tool shops, etc. And at last we've learned about project production process, where a company accepts a single, complex, and large contract in the form of a project and is to complete the order within a specified time interval. Examples include construction of airports, dams, roads, buildings, shipbuilding, etc. These three production processes were discussed under intermittent or non-continuous production processes. Thank you.
Welcome to Academic Press the bell icon to the change of materials into products and people, of course, designed to transform a certain limited range of materials into products of increased value. These three building blocks, materials, processes, and systems, constitute the subject of modern manufacturing. There is a strong interdependence among these factors. A company engaged in manufacturing cannot do everything. It must do only certain things, and it must do those things well. Manufacturing capability refers to the scope of technical and physical capabilities and limitations of the manufacturing company and each of its plants. Manufacturing capability has three dimensions. 1. Technological process and capability. 2. Physical size and weight of product. And 3. Production capacity. Technological process and capability. The technological processing capability of a plant or company is its available set of manufacturing processes. Certain plants perform machining operations, others roll steel billets into sheet stock, and others build automobiles. A machine shop cannot roll steel, and a rolling mill cannot build cars. The underlying feature that distinguishes these plants is the processes they can perform. Technological processing capability is closely related to material type. Certain manufacturing processes are suited to certain materials, whereas other processes are suited to other materials. By specializing in a certain process or group of processes, the plant is simultaneously specializing in certain material types. Technological processing capability includes not only the physical processes, but also the expertise possessed by plant personnel in these processing technologies. Companies must concentrate on the design and manufacture of products that are compatible with their technological processing capability. Physical product limitations. A second aspect of manufacturing capability is imposed by the physical product. A plant with a given set of processes is limited in terms of the size and weight of the products that can be accommodated. Large, heavy products are difficult to move. To move these products about, the plant must be equipped with cranes of the required load capacity. Smaller parts and products made in large quantities can be moved by conveyor or other means. The limitation on product size and weight extends to the physical capacity of the manufacturing equipment as well. Production machines come in different sizes. Larger machines must be used to process larger parts. The production and material handling equipment must be planned for products that lie within a certain size and weight range. Production capacity. A third limitation on a plant's manufacturing capability is the production quantity that can be produced in a given time period. Let's take a month or year. This quantity limitation is commonly called plant capacity or production capacity, defined as the maximum rate of production that a plant can achieve under assumed operating conditions. The operating conditions refer to number of shifts per week, hours per shift, direct labor manning levels in the plant, and so on. These factors represent inputs to the manufacturing plant. Given these inputs, how much output can the factory produce? Plant capacity is usually measured in terms of output units, such as annual tons of steel produced by a steel mill or number of cars produced by a final assembly plant. In these cases, the outputs are homogeneous. In cases in which the output units are not homogeneous, other factors may be more appropriate measures, such as available labor hours of productive capacity in a machine shop that produces a variety of parts. Materials, processes, and systems are the basic building blocks of manufacturing and the three broad subject areas of our discussion in manufacturing processes. So, we have studied in details about manufacturing capability. Thank you.
So it was the last video that I want to show you to you. And on the last slide, you can see check questions. It's your home task for this lecture. For now, we finish our lesson, and the next lesson will start. Wait a minute.